Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another Came From the Workbench installment. This is confusing. This is an episode that has to exist. It is perhaps interstitial, coming in between something substantive and other things, right? Okay. We've got 39 and 40 combined. We've got the twins. Let's just cut to the chase. Nah. And I mean, right? Am I right or am I right? I have no idea. Okay, I need to get this out of the way first. When I was grabbing stickers and slapping them on, and there's not a lot, there will probably be more later, but when I went for the grills, I said, which one looks the most evil? I don't know what grill, because these bodies from J Concepts come with like 4. I think it's 4. It might be 5 different grills for all the different years. Not a pickup truck guy. I don't know specifically which one goes to which. I just thought these look the most like big business. So that's why we went with the 4 square lights. You can also see them lurking in there. The brothers are in there. He's kind of looking down. We can move that guy around. I was pondering over. I had already painted the bodies because we did the ghost ride in the last installment. Got that out of the way. I knew we were going solid blue and solid red. Did the black bed the usual method. We just cut through the mask. All blacked on the inside. We've got a little bit of tape, because I figured these are going to rub on the little teeth. So, and also the bumpers tend to punch back a little bit. So a little bit of tape there, a little bit of foam for the body mounts there. They're effectively identical on the inside. Same thing. I tried to keep them as close as possible. I did forget to put this guy's door handle stickers on. He's got them. And have since thrown all of the other stickers into the sticker bin. So I will at some point have to try to find those. In terms of changes, well, okay, let's exhibit. I had the idea. My buddy was like, you should make it so that you can remove the guy if you want to remove the guy. So we did exactly that. This is just a piece of 090 ABS, and that's how we make sure it goes. This one's got blue double sticky back foam, and he's got red. That's how we get blue and red. Pull it apart. Made a little 4-point harness out of zip ties. Okay, there we go. And he just straps to the top of the battery. The miraculous part of it was that while making it, I made 2 that are actually quite similar. So battery goes here. Now, in the future, it is not out of the question that both of these rigs will be converted to different gearboxes, because these OD3 clones are the opposite of fun to work with. Are these gearboxes? They are abusive to your mind and soul because of the way the gears are pinned to the shafts. Every time you want to make a pinion gear adjustment or a pinion gear change, you have to first take the entire gearbox out of the vehicle and disassemble the gearbox entirely. And as these 2 guys are intended to do head-to-head testing, like one thing immediately beside the other, I crave the convenience. The OD3 has 18% internal underdrive, and so can the Stealth X. So you will see some installments. We have upcoming installments, and I'm going to punish myself, because maybe, in between the filming of this installment and the upcoming installments where we're doing things head-to-head, perhaps I will get better or used to the operations of working with it. I don't think I'm going to, because we had to put in a spacer. So there are these 3 screws. You have to take those 3 screws out to unbolt this from the vehicle. You have to take the drive shafts off. You have to disconnect it. Should be able to remove the gearbox. Should be able to swap a motor, but to get to the motor, you have to take 5 screws off of the case itself, then loosen the motor, pull the motor, install another motor. So it's like a 10-minute operation to change a motor. I do have, they're running a mishmash of pinions right now. And here they are. Robinson 14-tooth, an identical pair of the nickel-plated Robinson Absolute pinions. So those will go in upon the first motor change. Oh, yes, and potentially, most importantly, because our weight distribution, we were sitting at 52-48 last time around, brass rings in the front wheels. That's it. Just brass. I think they might have been Enjoras. It doesn't really make a difference. They come in a package that looks very similar to this. I think these have the gold stripe. It might have been these. It might have been just another set of the OGRCs. Just like that. The OGRCs are a bit heavier than others. You will find 1.9 brass rings in weights ranging from, I think I've seen as low as 89 grams, and the ones that went in here were 115 grams a piece, which is appreciably, reasonably, and decently heavy. I'm not upset with the weight of those. I have not put them back on the scales yet, and I mean, obviously I should. So realizing that it would take about 30 or 40 seconds to do that, we threw blue on the scale. Should be popping. Oh, we'll put it up in that corner. Should be popping up right over there, right about now. 3,042 total grams, 50-50, 6-gram differential split. So I guess the driver figure helped. Apparently didn't hurt, because if I recall correctly, blue had a perfect 50-50 cross down to the gram, and it's 6 grams over. So it doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like it should put weight onto the driver's side, but it did not. We also have a 4-gram differential between the front right and the front left, and a, 10-gram differential between left and right in the rear. This guy's balanced out, and the addition of that brass, we're now sitting at 55-45, and that was pretty much where I wanted to be. I have here a set of unused, homeless, the front weights for the Mias axles, but I only have one pair, and I think that Mias is redesigning them because the way they made the little recess, a lot of SLW hubs will hit them and grind against them. You can't tuck your wheels in as much as you would want. So you can't find another set. So when I can get 2 sets of knuckle weights, these guys will probably get knuckle weights, and that's probably about it on the running gear. I didn't have a problem with the 35 kg servos. Their final setups, like what I call day-to-days, it's going to have a day-to-day. These guys have to have day-to-days, even though they're going to be testing things over and over and over. It's going to be 1080s, Hobby Wing 1080, non-G2 1080s, and more than likely Injora 35-turn tuned machines, because I don't know how things like this happen. I must have bought one and then forgot and then bought another one, right? I know I have a burgeoning obsession with 35-turn motors. Yeah, racing. Hack Moto V2, 35-turn. Tekin, 35-turn. This one, I don't know if we can zoom in enough to actually see it. Can we? Yeah. 35-turn. And I think I have one more. Oh yeah. It's installed in a vehicle under work right now. Oh, which is right here. Red Spider, 35-turn. 35-turn. So that is why this is an interstitial. We need to show the stuff that went on. I went to put shackles on, and I don't have 4 that are the same, like D-rings. I don't have 4 of the same ones, so I'll have to get those off Amazon soon-ish. Right? It's a non-critical item. Or alternately, I mean, if these weren't black, if they had had the silver bumpers in stock, I had really wanted the silver bumpers, I would just take these over to the sander and just grind them down smooth on the front and then be done with it, because you can already see these have been digging into the ground. Anyway, not much was done to these guys in terms of their DNA. They got paint. They got their driver figures installed. They're ready to do, they got some weighted rings put in. They're ready to do the stuff. So that's what we're going to do. The Ghost Ride is out of the way, so there's no point in just taking them out there and running. We still have a 550 in here and a 540 in here. I have the backup 540 right here, because our prior experience was that the 540 is worse at virtually everything compared to the 540. The 550 side-hilled better for some inexplicable reason, but was just like this. The blue, who is now blue, he was only blue wheels at the time, felt genuinely better at pretty much everything. So the first thing, this is the opening episode. This one's going to have as much or more ramble than the rest of the episodes combined, because we haven't really collated the thoughts. We keep chasing after brushed because, A, there's a lot of it here. B, you can get brushed stuff really, really inexpensively, because with Hobbywing, the good folks over at Hobbywing, and the innovation of this, the Fusion SE in 1800 and 1200, and 1800 is what I would run on one of these, especially with a 69-to-1 gear reduction. I would run one of these. This, I mean, I want to just come out and say that this has relegated all of this stuff to the past. Relics of the past. It has relicated them. Because it kind of has. Like, even when we're talking about cheap stuff, this is a fantastic 35 turn. I ran this in a Capra for a long time. The Tekin T35 HD is excellent. It's absolutely excellent. But it's nominally, it is marginally better than this, right? Which you can get for about $13, $14. As you keep going up in money, they tend to get a little better, incrementally better. The question is, do they ever get better enough to make you not buy this? $79.99. This is $50. This is $43. That's already $94. You're getting into Outrunner money at that point. So why? Why do we? Well, I mean, I'll tell you, it's full transparency. We're here in the spirits of full transparency. Why? Well, here's why. I mean, just let them rot. I mean, there has to. It's called fishing, not catching. We're fishing. We're looking. We've got our line in the water. We've got to find. We have to. It is an imperative that we find out there somewhere a reasonably affordable and or easily obtainable brushed speed control that can be combined with a brush motor of, I would have to set the mark at $30 realistically. I love this motor. This is my favorite brushed motor, hands down. And I think I mean it all the way to the point of it being the 16 turn. This is the 540 Plus V2 from Rocket Surpass. It is a 5-slot, but it uses neodymium magnets in the can instead of ferrite magnets. I don't know if you can tell by looking down the barrel of the gun. You kind of can. See the height of that right in there? That flat shape you see in through the triangle, and all of these end bells are the same. So there's nothing I can show you to make it a little easier to see. See that thickness? That is the magnet. That's the ferrite magnet in there. If you look in through here, do you see that little, right there, that little shine of chrome color? That's the rare earth neodymium magnet in there. So if memory serves, these have a 23 millimeter rotor, and this has a 28 millimeter rotor. in the same size can. Now, I know that might not sound like an enormous amount going from 23 to 25, but just think about from 23 to 28, but just think about it. Think about it in terms of internal combustion, back in the old-timey world of ice. Internal combustion engines. You have a 2.3 liter versus a 2.8 liter is basically what it is. You're going to have potentially significantly more power. And basically the 2.8 is forced induction because those magnets are stronger. 5-slot motors, when you do, well, this is a 16-turn 5-slot. This is a 16-turn 5-slot. There's no resistance to the magnets at all, right? Because it's 5-slot. There is a lot of boom, 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 boom. You can actually feel when the slots are rotating past the magnets. It feels like you're turning a key in a lock. There is so much more torque in this motor compared to the motors that are in here that they are, if not for a grotesquely similar form factor, they would be incomparable. It's that much better. It's also $50. I cannot in clear conscience recommend that people go out, oh yeah, get yourself a 1080 G2, get yourself one of these Surpass Rocket, what I call big blocks, 540 plus V2, get one of those, slap it together and have a great time, because it's a fantastic motor. And with the G2, it's so smooth, it feels so good. But Fusion SEs are maintenance free. They are inexpensive. They are receptive to any amount of gearing change. They have fantastic low speed control. They don't care. They're basically sealed so they can't get grit and grime and gross in them. There are way too many advantages in the plus column for the Fusion than there are in the feel column for a G2 with a 540 big block. Now, we've got this guy right here that is going to be in one of the upcoming test videos, because we are going to test, this is the Injora, which is still not out yet as of me speaking in this recording right now. This is a 100 and some, I think it's 140 amp peak brushed speed control. I think it's a 90 amp constant. This is a pre-release version, so it has no programmable features to it at all, except you can turn the BEC up or down. That's it. But other than that, it has nothing programmable. And it is phenomenally smooth and powerful. And upon release is supposed to cost $29.99. If it is out and I don't know it, then I am egg on my face. But this guy at $29.99, if we can get any sort of a decent showing out of something like this, then that is 100% reasonable. About $14, $30. We're talking $45 for a set that is not compromising, right? Not just putting it in purely to save money. We're going to put it in there because it's nice. So we have to get the formalities out of the way first, because I would like to get the Reedy stuff out. That's a little goal I have. So you might have been able to tell there is still a 480X in here running the 540 16-turn 5-slot. But over here on the 14-turn 550, we've got the older Reedy SC400X. Now, theoretically, the advantage should still be to the 16-turn, because this one is not programmable. Card, if you plug in the program card, just the 5 front dots all line up. So the only ESCs I know of for certain that are programmable with the Reedy card are the SC480X and the SC500X, which appears to have a blue heatsink and otherwise be an SC480. If there are, let's see, 2 to 3S, same specs, same everything. I didn't know this existed during my plea for people to send in the worst motors and speed controls in the world. Someone sent in an SC500. I have no idea what the difference between the SC500 and the SC480 is. I do know that I plugged the program card in and made sure that all their settings were exactly the same, which is ignore 5% initial drive, drag brake at 100%, maximum reverse at 50, and punch control on soft. So this one and this one are exactly the same. That can't be programmed. So this might be our first trip outside. We're going to go from a transition to wheeling to another transition. That period might be 2 minutes. I don't know. It might be 10 because I didn't know the SC400X was a thing, much as I didn't know the SC500X was a thing. Every rig that I had gotten prior to the most recent purchase of an updated Enduro SE, which came with the 2-in-1, which is better than the SC480. Still bad because it's paired to one of these, and this is not great, but it's better. It's not great, but you don't want to live with it. It's not good enough to where you go, oh, we'll just live with this. We're trying to find something that's good enough to live with. I want to say these things are about $35 in that area. I guess if you can find them. So what we're going to do, our boy in blue is going to drive around and do his normal things. And the boy in red here, I should be able to hot swap, actually, because we're still running bullets. We still have it's already programmed. We should be able to tinker that guy around on the 400. And then when it is still worse than this, then we're going to throw in the 500 and we're going to see how it is. My guesstimation is still worse. Then we're going to throw the 6, so they'll have identical motors, only he'll be on the 480 and the red boy will be on the 500. And then we'll see if we can tell any difference with that at all. And then this is absolutely episodic, this side by side, because then it's going to be small incremental changes. Boom and boom. So we're going to end on that. We're going to end this in there will be the closure of this installment. And then we're going straight into it. I don't know if it's going to be a whole week of it, but it might be. Because then we're going to pull these speed control. We're going to pull out the 480 and the 500. We're going to put in a 1080 and the Endura. We're going to do those side to side on garbage motors. Right? Actually, we might not even go in that order. We might try a Radial Link Cool 9030 in there. We don't know. It's probably going to be the 1080 versus the Endura. Then we're going to pull the crap motors out. We're going to put 35-turn motors in there. Identical Endura 35 turns. One on a 1080, one on an Endura, side by side. And then, I don't know. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll get some suggestions about put this against this. We've got a slew of 35 turns. We've got 1080s and 1080 G2s. Maybe it should be the 1080 versus the G2, and then the winner of that versus the Endura. I don't know. There are so many things that these two guys sitting side by side fill me with the 12-year-old joy, because I've got G.I. Joe guys driving toy cars, right? Awesome. With their holographic Cobra logos. You gotta love it. I've got tires sitting here on the rack. I got Deep Woods with 3D printed in them. Do I want to see Deep Woods up against Cut Canyon trails? Yeah. Side by side, I absolutely do. There's too many things. Do I want to see the winner of all of the brushed configurations? Do I want to see a 1080 G2 or the Endura with the 16-turn 5-slot big block up against a Fusion side by side? Yeah, I really, really do. So we're going to get through this. We're going to do this stuff. Today is Reedy Day. We're going to see if any of it is even borderline salvageable. And my anticipation is no. So if we go out with no expectations, they're not lowered, they're lowered. We have no expectations. If any combination of these Reedy bits is anything above absolutely terrible, that's an outright success. So the boys are going to get their bodies bolted on. we're going to head out. I still need to add to the list now. We need like 5 steering wheels. I mean, I would just like them to have to hold it so you can see it through the windshield. But anyway, I'm going to meet you outside. I'm going to try to take as much stuff as I can with me. He's only going to have to come back in the shop one time to get a motor swap. I'm not going to try that out on the workbench. I'm just going to drive him back. We're going to swap it over and we're going to head back out. Also, you'll notice, I don't know if the camera shows it, he looks like he's sitting a little higher and he's sitting a little lower. They're on identical seats. You know what it is? Do you know what it is? He's on a Z. He's on a Z 2200. And he's on an Ovonic 2200. It's a little swelly. It's a little swelly. So as their bracket is on top of the battery, he actually sits about 4 or 5 millimeters higher. It doesn't seem to matter. His weights came out great. Okay. I told you it was going to be rambly. It's going to be a ramblathon. Let us go and test the Reedy things. And then we can get on to testing more reasonable things. We're going to have to figure out something for the logistics of handling the twins. 2 cameras, 2 rigs, 2 radios, 2 everything. Yeah, I can't carry it all at once. I can't carry it all and drive one of them. So I did 1 camera and 1 rig, 1 camera and the other rig. And I can tell you, the SC480X has long stood atop the pyramid of worst speed control, discounting the ISDT ESC70. Some people seem to make it work. In my experience, of a speed control that you would buy, the ESC70 is the worst speed control in the world, because there is every chance, it's basically 50-50. You're either going to get one that works or you're going to get one that isn't. And if you get one that isn't correct, your life will be hard. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Nobody is buying this. Nobody's buying an SC400. Nobody's buying an SC480. Just if you buy an Element, well, not anymore, but if you had bought an Element in the past, they gave it to you. Here's the thing that I can tell you so far about the SC400. It shares in common with the SC480 this obnoxious thing where about the top half of the power band is just nothing. Nothing. You hit full speed at about 2/3 throttle, and then you can just kind of, you can take the trigger and you can go like this, and nothing happens. It's going as fast as it's going to go. So it makes the low speed control, like you saw that jump, there it is, that's it. This is literally as slow as this motor and speed control will go. And any amount of throttle input feels too large. There's also, I mean, as you can see, the drag brake is nearly non-existent. It's almost as if the SC in SC400 and 480 and all those stood for short course. Okay, let's see a head down drag brake. I mean, it's almost like it's off. And those of you who had watched the Ghost Ride might recall that the gear reduction after portals on these two gentlemen is 69-1. That is a tremendous amount of mechanical advantage. These should be able to hill hold. I will say this in defense of the 400. Because it is, at least to me, clearly producing less power. It's putting out less. The 400 is putting out less power than the 480. It behaves as if it's smoother than it actually is because it just doesn't have any power. The 480 has that snappiness and that responsiveness that we were used to. It has actually more drag brake, and the drag brake has gotten worse on the 550 with the 400 than it was on the 480. There is very little redeeming quality about the 400. Do I think that it is overall worse than the 480? Does it unseat the 480? Let me see. All right, gotta swing it around. Yeah, it's just less powerful. And it has to be the speed control that we're dealing with here, because unless Reedy has done something inexplicable, and they've done many inexplicable things, but the one here would have to be that a 540 feels significantly more powerful than the 550. It's providing more drag brake. Well, I mean, let's see. And there's your 550 drag brake on an SC400. And here's your drag brake on the 480. I mean, it's just slower. Like, it's holding better. Shouldn't ought to be. Shouldn't ought to be. It's still not good. I mean, nothing should roll back that fast ever. So the 400 is giving me smoothness by virtue of just weak. So it almost feels like enhanced low speed control, but it's not. I can feel through good old identical radios, I can feel through trigger tension that I'm having to use, there's just more input into the 400 to get it to go. And there are moments, well, I mean, we can look at it. We can actually look at it. Let's see. If we even tip in. So I'm at about 16% throttle. Gonna go a little higher. Between 16 and 19 on the throttle for that 550 on the 400 to get on up. Let's get the same screen. Give it a little bump. Got to pull that front end around a little bit. Okay, go this way then. Yeah. It just, there's a, what would that be? 20%? Let's call it 18. I would call the 540 on the 480X about 18 to 20% more powerful, which makes absolutely no sense. It makes none. That's counterintuitive. A 14-turn 550 should be slower than a 16-turn 540, but it's not. It's really not. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that. But as anticipated, the 400 is not. Yeah, the 480 is somehow an improvement over the 400. Which, yeah, overall, God help us. I think the 480 is a moderate improvement over the 400, just in terms of thing like drag brake. It is my belief, and I have nothing to back this up with because I don't know where the 400 comes from, but I believe that the 400 is a repurposed speed control that is not for rock crawling. Like, I think it's out of like a short course truck or something. I was out of go fasts from Associated at that time, so I'm not 100% sure. But that is my assumption. The SC400 is not a crawler speed control. Now, the SC500 absolutely should be. So let us see if the 500 is that 20 better than a 480. We'll get the 480 back up on the hill first. I would like to point out that no two Reedy speed controls make the same number nor sequence of beeps when you plug in the battery. I want to have that 480 feel. Okay. All right. Okay. 540 better than the 550 at everything. 500 rolling in first time. Okay. First off, that's like way creepier. That can go much slower. Oh, look at this. The trigger inputs feel like they're doing something. Yeah. About that 20% again. The 550 on the 400 took between 16 and 19. And when I speak of 16 to 19, we'll come back down and look at it. So on channel 2, you got the throttle adjustments right there. We've got focus 16 to 19. That is the amount of throttle input that I'm giving it. This one will do it on like 13. Nothing will hold these motors back though. Yeah, that's smoother. The 500 is definitely smoother. But is that almost a hold? No. I think the 500 might have, I would go as far as to say 10% more drag brake than the 480. It is a lot smoother though. Like you can get away with proper low speed control. Yeah, it feels better. But importantly, if this is 100% drag brake, well, let's get it off the side. If this is 100% drag brake, then it really isn't, is it? It's not at all. How do I actually feel? Yeah. It has incrementally more drag brake, but at the very initial throttle tip in, the 500 feels way more like a 1080 than it does like a 480. And that is the greatest praise I could ever apply to a Reedy speed control. Is it worth $35? No. If they had given us element rigs fitted with SC500s instead of SC480s, I think we would have a lot less to complain about. I really want to see the SC480, I mean the SC500 on like a real motor. That's going to be, that's in the next installment, 100%. So this guy's going to get a 540 right now. Not this guy, not this guy. That guy's already got a 540. This guy is going to get a 540 right now. Okay. So I didn't, okay, we're swinging back around. I didn't see any option to change it. Okay. There's only one jumper. Okay, we've got that nice low speed, right? Then we get the little bit of rollback, right? Now I want to go into reverse. So it's forward brake reverse. So it's set to brake, which is not optimal, and I did not see any setting to change it to forward reverse. There's only 5 changeable parameters on the program card, and one of them is cutoff voltage, so there's only 4. Yeah. That right there. Yeah, forward brake reverse, it's the end of the story of the SC500. It doesn't matter how much better it feels. That is classifiable as not doing the thing. We're going to put a 540 on it anyway. So I've done it a couple times now, and I have discovered indeed that once you get the OD3 put together, you can change the motor without taking everything apart. You just take the access cover off and you can get to the gears, which are completely, the screws are completely full of grease. You can't really see where the pinion and the spur are meshing because of said grease. So you have to kind of do it by feel. I don't honestly know how tight the pinion is going to be in red. This is the 480 on the 540. That's not happening. I drove behind the camera and I couldn't see myself anymore. Trying to give it a little more pepper. Okay. 500 with the 540. That sounds about the same. Mesh may be a little tighter. I don't even think it's double digits. I think it is it's a little bit better. It has a little more drag brake at least. We can tell that. Now, let me see this. Let me see. What? It's borderline drag. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. It's borderline drag brake. In terms of smoothness and everything else, though, it is, as I said, it is single digits better. And the delay, there is a more than perceptible delay when transitioning from, like, I'm basically trying to double tap reverse to get into reverse as fast as I can. There's a big delay, and you can't. Sometimes you're just rolling and you think, oh, I've gotten it into reverse, but you haven't. This will very nearly drag brake. See if we can get up. I want to get up on right there. Look at that. That's a hold. Look at, that's a hold. Oh, what could have been? And you know, trust Reedy to do this to us, where the 500 is very nearly good enough to be an RTR speed control, but not quite. Almost, but not quite. That's a shame, isn't it? Well, I mean, not really. Well, at $35, I'm not going to tell anybody to buy one of these, period. If it had forward reverse and a little bit more drag brake, it's still not in the conversation, because it's, what, $7, $8 more for a 1080, or $5 or $6 less for an Endura. I mean, the 500 is kind of the speed control nobody asked for. The 480 is the speed control nobody ever wanted and nobody still wants. But the 500 is the one that nobody asked for because it is such an incremental improvement over the 480. And I mean incremental. Like, it is just that little bit better. Well, I keep my brain, for whatever reason, sees 480 and 500 and only sees the 20 and thinks that that should be 20% better. Well, no. 20 out of 500 is 1/25th. So, yeah, I would say that the 500 is at least 4% better than a 480. I might go so high as to say it's 8% better. Yeah, descending, though. On the descent, when you've got load, when drag brake and load are kind of trying to work together, they feel interchangeable. Yeah, that maneuver right there, creeping up that side, I need a wire clip in there to keep the wires out of the windows, don't I? I'm looking at other things. Yeah, I'm looking at other things because this is a feel zone. Yeah, that feels exactly the same, precisely the same. I've genuinely forgotten. When I pulled up, this is the beauty of just having two different colors of the exact same rig. As I pulled up over this step right here with blue, I got to right about there, and as I was rolling over it, I forgot who had the 480 and who had the 500. They're that close. There's more drag brake in the 500 in the red one. But that's it. I mean, what should have been the giveaway is that when I go like this, I go straight into reverse. And it has less drag brake, so we can get away with forward reverse. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that, even nose down, a little bit nose down drag brake. Little bit of drag brake. It's not great, but the 480 is god awful. So any improvement is an improvement. And I think this very nearly brings us to a close on the Reedy files. We will have a little bit of, is that going to stop? No. No, 500 definitely more drag brake. This very nearly brings a close to the Reedy files. We will get to see one more go at, well, we'll get to see a little bit of a series of go at where we're going to try the 500 against a 1080 on the Reedys. Just primarily just because I want to see what a 1080 can do with one of those Reedy motors. If I've done it in the past, I've blocked it out. I can't remember it. I would like to see it side by side, so we're going to do that. And then we will get those Reedy motors out of there. And I would like to see the 500 on an actual motor, an Endura 35 turn. So that's what we're going to do next time. One more round with the Reedys next time. Then we're moving on to the 35 turns, and we'll go from there. There's no point in owning a Reedy speed control. So as of when and where I'm sitting right now, they don't offer anything. I'm amazed that is holding. Like, that's actual drag brake. There's no tire hanging on a ledge, and the 480 will roll all the way down. But I mean, a little bit of drag brake that's the bare minimum. Like, that's what we would expect. So it's just doing what it should be doing. But the trigger feel at the top is pretty bad. The low trigger feel, the real low end, the tip in is much better than a 480, much better. But look what we're comparing it against. The 400 is now, I mean, just awful. So bad that I cannot genuinely believe that it is a crawler speed control. But I don't believe that the Radiolink Cool 9030 is a crawler speed control either. I think it's for boats, and it just happens to work for rock crawlers. And memory serves, I haven't run them side by side, but memory serves that 9030 is better than both of these. So we will probably inevitably, invariably get to that. And I will see you next time for that one. Thanks for joining the twins and I here for this one. Thank you for joining us here in the canyon. Please do tune in for whatever comes up next. And in between now and that inevitable moment, I would at least recommend that you, one and all, do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We will see you next time here from the canyon. The sun is peeking through a little hole in the clouds, and it's very bright. I will see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.